Hello, my name is Dr. Lewis Coleman. Um, you are about to watch a series of videotaped lectures uh, performed by a prominent libertarian intellectual named Robert Lefebvre. He delivered these lectures to more than 10,000 people during the political turmoil of the 1960s. Now, Bob had a very interesting life. He was born in the Midwest, and his mother was a Quaker, and his father wasn't present for reasons I don't recall. And when he grew to maturity, he was dirt poor, and so he embarked on numerous adventures. He worked as an actor in dinner theater in Southern California for a while, so he got some acting experience. He became part of a major religious movement and traveled back and forth across country several times. When World War II broke out, he became an officer and got pitched off the rear end of a Jeep and broke his back. Then after the war, he plunged into real estate in San Francisco and apparently was pretty successful at it because he wound up owning a hotel in the Tenderloin district of San Francisco. And so I guess he must have grown tired of that, so he traded the hotel for one of the old homes of Rudolph Valentino, the famous silent movie actor. And this was called Falcon's Lair. And so he was living there with his wife. Remember, one of the stories he told me was that while he was living there, an old-time silent movie actress named Mae Murray showed up at his door. And Mae Murray was very prominent at that time. Of course, today she's totally forgotten, but she had earned more than $1 million back when $1 million was worth some real money. And so she spent, I think it was like 3-4 days telling stories about the movies and so forth. They invited her to spend the night and fed her a bunch of meals and so forth. And then finally, when things got awkward, she took her leave, and Bob got curious and checked into her background and found out that she was a bag lady. She'd spent all her money, wasted all her money. And this is, of course, before Social Security. So she was destitute. And so she had all her possessions in a paper bag, and she was making her living by walking around, Los Angeles and staying with people and telling them stories. Anyway, I don't know if I have the sequence correct after all these years, but Bob became a newspaper editor at a small newspaper in Boulder, Colorado, I think. And while he was busy doing that, he also became concerned about the political turmoil that was taking place in the 1960s. And so he purchased some land in the mountains outside Boulder and built some log cabins and created what he called the Freedom School, which became rather famous. And he had economists and historians come and lecture with him, and he developed an actual series of lectures that you're about to watch on videotape during that time. What happened to the Freedom School was that there was a freak rainstorm that dislodged the shale in the hills behind the buildings, and it caused a serious mudslide that came down and damaged the buildings so badly that it became impossible to restore the school. So Bob then moved back to Southern California, and he took a job writing editorials for Harry Hoyles, who owned the Orange County Register newspaper. And I guess he did that for several years before he retired. And then he created a set of dinner theater or dinner meetings for people who were interested in libertarian political philosophy, and that's how I met him. I heard about him from a friend right after I finished my medical training, and so I, sought him out at one of these dinner meetings, and we soon became good friends. And Bob was a warm and generous friend, and I'll always remember him fondly, and I'll always miss him. Um, he told me that after I pressed him that most of his knowledge of history came from reading The Story of Civilization by Will and Ariel Durant, and he told me that nobody ever reads that. Well, I read it, and I would commend that to anybody who's interested in Western history. It was an amazing experience reading those books. They're very, very well written. And in addition, I don't Bob was a little bit on the weak side on his knowledge of money. So I found books by Alexander Del Mar and Stephen Zarlinga to be helpful to learn about the history and nature of money. So you might look into that as well. Anyway, be forewarned that these tapes are fairly lengthy. They're on the better part of an hour apiece, and they're, in my eyes, they're a treasure. Now, it's kind of a miracle that they have survived to become available on YouTube. And the way that happened was I learned about their existence by accident when I knew Bob and his wife Loy. And so when Bob passed away, I asked Loy to lend me the tapes. And turned out they were prepared using the old Sony Betamax videotape technology, which was the best technology, for that purpose back in the early 1980s or whenever they were made. And by the time I got my hands on the tapes, the Betamax technology was antiquated, because the machines were so expensive that Panasonic came out with a VHS videotape technology that took over the market and literally eliminated the Betamax machines. So I found an antique Betamax machine and rented it for a week, and I transcribed these old Betamax recordings onto VHS format. And then I didn't know what to do with them, short of maybe having a nationwide television program where they could be played in series. But of course, that was utterly unrealistic because I didn't have the influence or the funds for such a thing. So I dragged them around, and I moved a few times and kept the old VHS machine and trying to figure out what to do with these things. And finally, computer technology advanced with amazing speed during this time, and the internet appeared, and new video formats, DVDs and things like that appeared. And then YouTube appeared, and finally it dawned on me that if I could upload these tapes to YouTube, then everybody could watch them for free. And so I was able to purchase a small electronic device that connected my old VHS machine to my computer, and I transferred the materials to my computer, and then from there I was able to upload the materials to YouTube, and that's how that happened. Now, the materials have suffered a bit from old technology and these multiple transfers, but they're still viewable, and I think they have a lot of wisdom to offer, and so I think you will enjoy them. So whoever you are and whatever your motive, I hope that these lectures will serve as a source of wisdom and inspiration, because we are living in unprecedented times. We have, with paper money, civilization has created an incredible imbalance of wealth and power, never before seen in all of history. It has enabled the revolution in computer technology and a lot of other things. We're now at this interesting juncture that we have the ability to mass produce everything we want and create great wealth and abundance for every person, to the point that human labor will no longer even be needed in the very near future. On the other hand, the imbalance of wealth and power has placed all the decision making in the hands of a tiny group of people. We don't even know who they are because they keep in the background. And, so things could devolve into a sort of a totalitarian police state on steroids, where they can spy on every aspect of your life, know exactly where you're going and what you're doing and practically what you're thinking by monitoring all your communications and whereabouts. So that's where we sit right now. And it's my personal hope that these tapes will serve as an eternal source of wisdom and inspiration for people to help us guide through the difficulties that seem likely to happen in the not so distant future. So whoever you are and whatever your motive, I hope that you'll enjoy these tapes and that you'll gain great benefit from them. So happy trails, and I hope you enjoy the tapes. And if you do, please drop me a note via my website, which is www.stressmechanism, all one word, .com. Thanks for listening.